Good evening. Good evening. Welcome to the I Want to Believe show. I am Cathryn Rogers. Nice to see you. And we're with my beautiful co-host, Lynda. How you doing, Lynda?
I'm doing really well. How about you?
I'm doing really good.
Good. Well, I'm actually lying, because I had a sick cat this week. I know it's bad when you have a sick cat, and I'm a cat lady. But yeah, my cat Hamlet ended up spending one night in the cat hospital, and they still don't know. Yeah, they don't really know what was wrong with him, but he wasn't well. He had a fever. And so, of course, we were all worried about him. And I cried because that's who I am. But he's home and he's getting extra snuggles and everything's good. But aside from that, I think everything's okay.
I have a couple of dogs they're very, very old. And, it's getting to that time. And they're showing me every day that it's getting closer to that time. And I understand. We've done some dog picking up ourselves this week. It's been crazy. How about in the paranormal world? You guys doing anything?
Not really, although we've been getting a lot of emails and a lot of contacts. Lately, I don't know, maybe it's this moon phase that we're in, or maybe, because the spring energy is starting to kick up now too, because, Ostara is looming and yeah, so maybe. How about you? Is it really busy?
No, it's actually been really, really quiet here. If you guys don't know, I do have my own channel on, it's called Oracle Intuitions. You guys can catch me there on Wednesdays. I do live readings, but it's been busy, like personally, like personal readings, stuff like that. But otherwise, it's been pretty quiet on the paranormal front. Not complaining at all, that's for sure. We have a pretty crazy, amazing, like it's like when we talk about UFOs, I get scared. Okay, so I get scared, simply because of the fact that I have a crazy fear of UFOs. I'm not gonna lie. And we have this amazing guest on today, that is going to be talking about them. Now, he is a UFO hunter, abductee, everything, right? And I'm excited to hear what he has to say.
Yeah, I am too. I've actually been really looking forward to this because I too have a little bit of fear when it comes
I have
to
a crazy fear, like a crazy fear. I don't know what it is, but it's like, like for me, that's a personal,
I know. My sister too. And I'm really looking forward to meeting our guest tonight because, like you said, abductee, UFO hunter, author, it just an all-around incredible man with a lot of interesting insight and experiences. And he's all the way from Wales, which is
2 in the morning there for him.
2 in the morning. Can you believe
that? We appreciate him coming on.
Yes, we do.
I did put the link, or I did put the name of his book in the comment section, guys. If you would like to check out his book on Amazon. I couldn't get the Amazon link without it being like a 20-page, link. So I just put the name of the title in the book. We're going to bring him on, Russ Kellett. Here we go. Hi, Russ. How are you?
Hi, Cathryn. Hi, Lynda. Okay, thank you. How are you?
Oh, good. Well, we're happy it's not 2 in the morning here for us, but we were talking off camera and you'd said that this isn't unusual for you to be up too late like this, right?
No. I'm usually up. I'm either talking to whoever who's about, and if we're not talking, we're out investigating, or well, not investigating as such, but out sky watching.
Right.
There's cameras. So,
okay.
Something what I haven't done for a while because I had some issues with bereavement some time ago.
No.
And basically just couldn't be bothered with anything for like nearly a number of years. So now I'm just coming round, and within 2 years, what I did was I'd started on a book about 23 years ago, and I wrote the script. I'd actually wrote the 2 books, and I needed somebody to help me, to make sure that spelling was terrible. So I got a friend, and she helped me. She went through it, and got the books out. Yeah, got the books out. So that's in like 2 years. Everything just happened. 2 books in 2 years, more or less.
Right. So what? Okay, tell us from the beginning. What happened? Like, what brought you to writing the books? But what was like your experience?
Right. Well, I'd had an interest in the subject of UFOs as a child. I remember my dad coming in from work, and he used to bring me magazines, comic magazines, like, I think at the time it was something like Batman, Robin, maybe, I'm just trying to think, Fantastic Four, stuff like that. We're going back now, we're about 3 year old, and been looking at them and what have you. And then he'd come home because we were working at what you call night shift. So early morning, he'd be there and he'd getting his breakfast, and and I'd seen different books over the years, and I couldn't read. I was, dyslexic. As I got older, I had an interest in it. You were telling me, talking to mum about things that had happened at work, and looking at the covers of the books and looking inside, looking for pictures, if you see what I mean. So I'm looking, and there's pictures of UFOs and flying saucers in some of these books. Wow. It's quite amazing. And one morning, he told me, Mum, he said, something strange happened. There was on a tea break, and he was talking to one of the workmates, and as he's talking, behind him, he had 3 brothers that worked at the same place, where they made carpets, and a few more workmates with his brothers, and shouting. And my dad turned around and looking, and what's up? And it's, oh, you missed it. There's this, they called it a UFO, and he said, brothers said, oh yeah, but it was more than a UFO. It was a cigar-shaped object, and you just missed it. It's gone into this cloud. So he was telling me mum about this, and I'm listening, and I was stuck about this cigar-shaped UFO. Now, years later, I found a clipping, and this area called Fackley was known for something called the Fackley torpedo. So it was down, some people have described it as a cigar or a torpedo. You used to get those cigar metal case, and you've got a cigar in, and they look like a torpedo, don't they? So this name must have stuck, Fackley torpedo. So I've started to read now, and I'm looking and reading about things, and like I say, I found that, and it was the same place where my dad's work was, around this area, Fackley. So I've been interested because of what I've heard from my dad and what have you, and looking into pieces in paper again about UFO reports, and generally, an interest. But I'd seen as a young man I was looking for presents. It was going on Christmas time, and I was looking because I knew that the presents were kept upstairs in one of the bedrooms. My grandma and granddad's bedroom, the Christmas presents was kept up there. So I'm looking, being a bit of a, naughty, looking to see if Santa Claus had the presents stashed away. And
Right.
I found this toy gun and what have you. And so, anyway, I'm thinking I better go down now because my mum and my grandma's downstairs and they're shouting up, "What are you doing upstairs?" And I'm in bathroom, lying. Terrible. So as I'm going to the door, I noticed there's this man, and I'm thinking it must be Dustbin Man, and he's like this silvery grey, like jumpsuit, pilot suit, coming through his gateway into the backyard, and I'm looking, and there's this silver, and I'm thinking, oh, it must be a Dustbin Van, and I'm looking, and he's got an helmet, and I thought, well, why has he got an helmet on? Anyway, I waved at him, and he looked up, and he put his hand up like a wave back sort of thing, and then he turned around and went, and then he stopped and looked, and then he went behind the silver object, which it juddered from side to side, and then it went up, and I looked up. I mean, it was a big window, but I'm looking to see where it's gone. And then my mum and my grandma were shouting, "What? Come on, get down here now!" All right then. So I goes in the bathroom, and then I went downstairs. So that was like the first time I'd seen something, and I was, like I said, about 4-year-old, And then I went to my first meeting. I was about 15-year-old with a friend from school, and there'd been an advertisement in the paper. It was, I think, if I remember rightly, the Apharius Society, and it was a big pub, like a hotel in city centre. So me and my friend, after school, we went, and I think it was something like 50 pence to get in. This is in 1979. So I think I had enough to get a bus there, bus back, get in and buy a Coca-Cola, you know what I mean? And it wasn't for us when we got there that, we wasn't getting any information really. It were more joiners, if you see what I mean. And we're like fish out of water. So that was like that was over more or less. 15, 16, I'd got like a motorbike, and I'd got a job. So I finished on the Friday at school, and then Monday I started a job, and I had a motorbike, a Suzuki, what I'd asked parents and what have you, and I had this motorbike bought for my birthday and Christmas sort of thing. And so I'm riding around on this motorbike, having time of my life. And one night after tea, after work and after tea, I was out on this trail bike, and I used to go trail bike riding. Well, I used to watch others because I was a bit soft. I was, I had doing that, not on a new bike, you know what I mean? And I remember going back home down this area where it's like druids, where the druids were supposed to live, near this place called Druid's Altar. And basically, I had missing time. And I'd got home, and it was 2 hours later than I should have. My mum used to say, "Get in, remember you've got work in the morning, and get in," and she used to worry about me on my motorbike. So I remember missing time. The first time it was just missing time, if I remember right. But there was other occurrences after that, like more or less going down the same area on my motorbike. And then this is when it starts getting into sort of like strangeness. There's a big tunnel, and I'd been, like I said, I went out every night on my motorbike, and so a tunnel just doesn't get built overnight, does it? You know?
No.
And I'm, going down this road, and there's this tunnel, and I'm thinking, strange. And I'm looking around me, because looking to see if there's any vehicles because I'm slowing down. And I'm thinking, I don't like the look of this. I just didn't, it looked very intimidating.
Right.
It didn't look as if it should be there.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? It just was out of character. It was out of place. Anyway, I'm slowing down, but I'm not slowing down. I'm trying to slow down, but I'm being pulled in. So the next thing, now I'm inside this like dark and subdued room, and I've got no helmet on, and I feel like I'm sort of like no clothes on, and I'm sat in this like this chair, like a dentist chair, and it goes back, and now there's these tall figures, like with like blue uniforms, and the tall and the bald, and I've got this thing going on. Somebody's touching the back of my neck, and I feel like an injection type of thing, in back of my neck, just right at the middle of my neck. And then something's placed on my head, and my mouth's opened, and they put this tube down my throat. And I am
you feel
panicking.
pain or anything, or could you feel it?
Really panicking.
Yeah. Could you feel it, or was there pain with it?
Oh, I could feel it, yeah, but it wasn't pain. It was uncomfortable, and something going down your mouth and in your throat, a tube, and then this thing and an helmet placed on your head, and they're saying, "Don't panic, don't panic." And I'm thinking to myself, I'm panicking, all right. Anyway, so I'm laid back. I've got this helmet on, and then the next thing, there's a shift, and it feels like I'm up now, and the room seems to have just expanded and grown, and I've gone up, and I'm in like a stadium, and there's this holographic image in front of us, and there's this information coming into this visor, and it's giving all this information, and it's like it's to do with being in the military, and it's about weapons and about how you must handle this weapon and everything. And I'm thinking, what? And then I look around, and there's hundreds of people in the same position and we're in this, like I say, in this sort of like chair, and we're like, there's wires holding us up, and it's a massive arena, so there's hundreds of us, maybe probably thousands of us in this big arena. And then the next thing, I'm back down in and laying back, and then this helmet's taken off and this tube's taken out, and what have you. And I'm back outside now, and I'm motorbike, and I'm thinking to myself, my motorbike's still going, but as I've got on it, it's running away with me, because it's like, how can I put it? It's like into gear and I'm off, but I'm not
Right.
100% conscious of what I'm doing. And
Right.
then I come around and I can feel the air blowing in my face at the night sky, you know, and sort of like, so I'm coming around a bit. And I'm riding down the road. I'm sort of like looking back, thinking, what were all that about? You know, it didn't make any sense. Anyway, so this happened a couple of times. The same scenario happened again with these tall humanoid creatures, about 10 foot tall, in this room, right?
Wow.
So anyway, we're getting. By this time, I'd got a different group of friends, and we had scooters, like mod scooter boys, and I had a scooter now, and I'm flying around. I've been to a friend's house, so we used to do a lot of training, like keep fit training, you know, and martial arts training. And I'd gone over to his house because he was an acupuncturist and physiotherapist, and I'd bust my knee. So I'd gone over to have some acupuncture done on my knee. So I'd gone over and, you know, sat down in his house and talking to him and his wife. And then he did acupuncture on my knee and we're talking about the area and what have you. And I told him, I said, it's funny, is this, because something happened. And he said, you get strange things like that around here, he says.
Oh.
He says, there's UFOs, you know, and aliens. And I thought to myself, oh, right. You know, anyway, never give it a second thought, really. Going home on my scooter this night. And what happens, come across the same tunnel again.
Oh, no.
Right. And I'm and I'm flying down and I sees it. So now I'm putting my brakes on. I'm thinking I'm not going in there again. Too late. I'm so close to it, and I've got my front brake on as well, and I'm skidding. And I put the brakes on so hard, the front brake, the cable, it snapped.
Oh.
The like the nipple that goes on, it snapped off, you know, and basically, so straight in, and in the situation again. I'm back in this room. These blokes are walking around. Then there's some smaller blokes in, and now, you know, it's a case of I've gone through the same thing. I have this tube put in. I've gone up and what have you. And this time now it's like training. So I'm listening and watching everything, what's going on. And, you know, I don't know how long it must have lasted for, but I know that when I was getting home, I'd been in trouble because my mum had said, look, you know, you're getting in late, you know, like 2 o'clock in the morning,
Right.
you know, to get in for 12 o'clock or 11. So there's a couple of hours. So again, I'm riding my scooter home this time, and I had to, you know, go slow because I'm aware that I've got no brake, you know, from brake now. So going home, all these things, you know, you're thinking about all these things, what's going on, you know, and although I could remember, I couldn't remember 100%, if you know what I mean. Yeah. So I get in, and my mum says to us, like I was saying, you know, when you've got work the next morning, Russ, you know, get in at a reasonable time. So yeah, okay. So this had gone on, and then there were a gap. Now I've got a motorbike now. This is a few years later, like 5 years later. So there's a bit of a gap, but it has happened a couple of times. Now things are gearing up because I've got a motorbike, I've got a chopper now, and I'm out more, and you know, I'm riding around and obviously going faster on a bigger motorbike and what have you. And I've been out to my friend and, you know, wife told him about this, what's gone on. And we're now talking about UFOs and paranormal and ghosts and everything, you know.
Right.
Going home this night, and I went a different way and came round sort of a thing, just having a ride on my bike. And I come to this level crossing and I can see these red lights coming down. And I'm thinking, they're coming down, there's a train coming. So I slowed down, thought barrier, and I stopped. And I'm aware of this light, a very, very bright light. So I'm looking around me. I'm thinking I can feel this heat on my back. I can feel it and on me. And I'm thinking, if that's somebody in a truck behind, they're getting a bit too close. So I'm looking around to shout and say, you know, don't get too close. What are you doing? With this light, and there's nobody behind me. I can see there's the road behind me. I'm thinking. So I'm looking at the signs of it, and then I looked up because I could see on my petrol tank the reflection from above. So I'm looking up, and now I'm feeling like I'm floating.
Oh boy.
So I'm sort of like floating, and then the next thing, I'm back down on my motorbike. I can feel wind, you know, blowing on my face now, and you know, and I had this feeling when I was like floating, right calm feeling. Now I'm sat down looking around, thinking I better move myself. I'm sat in the middle of the road, and these lights have gone back up. But I noticed something, and that is the lights had gone up, but they were going up further than the barriers. Right? The barriers were up, and these lights were going up above the barriers. And I'm thinking, well, what was that? So anyway, I carried on going home. So I'm on my way home now, and I'm coming to this place called Flappit, where it's out in countryside where Brontes live, you know, like Aworth.
Yeah.
And just after that, there's a place called the Flappit where we used to go trail bike riding. And I can see this white ball in the distance, and it's getting closer, and it's getting bigger, and it's getting closer, and it's following me, keeping up with me, I should say. And it's going over trees and over farm buildings, and it's coming across, and it's getting closer. Now it's changing like a silver ball, like a ball bearing. So I'm pulling my throttle back, and I'm looking at it, and I'm flying down this road, and we're sort of like this, you know, racing each other. And the next thing, this thing just, it shot right in front of me.
Oh my God.
And I'm sort of like, now I'm thinking, flipping it, just missed it, straight across over to this place called Halifax. And there's a bloke coming down opposite direction, and he's sort of like looking like, and did you see that? I'm shouting, did you see that? And he's just, I don't think he's seen anything, you know what I mean? So I just pulled over, looked around, indicated, pulled over, and I went and I sat down, and I'd got a cig, and I'm smoking, watching this ball going to the distance further and further, you know. And I thought, that is unbelievable. So anyway, I finished this cig, and I thought, right, so continues home. So I get home and come to a roundabout where I lived, and the house, usually it's lit up, it's in darkness. And I'm thinking, it's a bit strange, because my parents and my sister and dogs usually up at that time, you know, can't be too late. Pulls in, opens the door. Dog came running out. She went to the bathroom, out, you know, toilet and what have you. So brought her back in. I went to get a coffee, put kettle on. And I thought to myself, I looked 2 o'clock in the morning.
Oh,
and I'm thinking,
Wow.
no way. So I unplugged. Now I've unplugged the kettle because, you know, they make a noise and it makes a noise and you can hear it upstairs, you know. Sort of like, so
Yeah.
I thought, right, I better pull the plug out. I thought I'll have a coffee when I get up, you know. So anyway, gone to bed and what have you. And I'm saying to my dog, I'm saying, Trixie, you know, sort of like, shh. So he goes up, and because he always used to follow me to bed, did my dog, you know what I mean? So anyway, I'm woken up by this screaming banshee the next morning, and it's my mum, you know, sort of like, Russell Kellet. She said, yeah, again. She says, yeah, again. She says, either, you know, you're just stupid or whatever. She says, coming in at early hours at morning. She says, you know, she said, you want to get in at a reasonable hour. I don't know. You don't drink, so I can't understand why you're out at such time. You know, so I'm thinking, okay, then. So she says, unless it's, you know, a girlfriend. No, you know, sort of like, and she's shouting up. So I'm looking at my dog and giving it, yeah, okay. So anyway, they go out. Go on, sort of like, so my mum, my dad, and my sister are all going, you know, because my dad drives them to work and what have you. So I gets up and has a coffee before, lets my dog out and what have you. And typical bloke, I'm thinking to myself, you know what? Straight out, straight to work, a coffee, you know what I mean? So I gets in work. As soon as I worked with 150 women in this factory, right? I was a forklift truck driver. So takes my helmet off and I gets in. As soon as I taken my helmet off, one of the lasses out of work, we came up to us and she says, you seen your face, Russ? I gives it, seen yours. She gives it, no, be serious. She says, what have you done? She says, you've overdone it on the sunbed.
Oh,
sunbed, go away. So anyway, she said, no, Russ, come and have a look. Look at your face in the mirror. I says, look at your face in the Russ, she's not being serious now. Okay, then. So, you know, so looks in this mirror, and where my helmet has been, I've got this, you know, sort of like, I've still got it actually. Well, it's like being burned. You know, I've got this suntan radiation. It is on my hand and back neck as well, sort of thing.
Wow.
So I'm thinking, where did that come from? And I mean, we're talking about noticeable. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I'm thinking, I'm gonna go to work now with my helmet on, put my helmet on. You know what I mean? So you can tell. It's so noticeable. You take the helmet off. Oh no, keep on. My boss said, what are you doing with that helmet? Take it off. What's up? All right then. You know. So anyway, it was like, it was funny. In days later, when I'm like a leper, and my skin's coming off my face and my hands and my neck.
Wow.
Right, yeah, and I'm sick.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm being, you know what I mean? I can't see. My vision's gone.
Wow.
I couldn't even get on my motorbike. I could not get on my motorbike. I was in so much pain. I couldn't hold my motorbike. I couldn't hold my chopper up or anything.
Wow.
You know? So, you know, things had started going, you know, with a bit of a downhill slide. So then I'm going out on my motorbike and other things are happening. And again, there's always, apart from the time with the level crossing, there was no, you know, there was no, but the worst ones of all was like when I've got somebody on the back, a friend, we were in a group with motorbikes, and we were wanting to go somewhere, and it would after work, after tea, we'd go out, you know, and go see other friends with motorbikes. and we were saying where we were going to go. You know, I said, "Oh, we'll go this way." So about 80 miles, you know, riding round. Now, when I got home, so we'd gone this way, which was coming towards where I live over here now, York, then going across to Harrogate, Blubberhouses to Skipton, which is quite near where this tunnel is. So I've done a circle, if you see what I mean, like a journey, like a circle.
We just have a
Now,
really quick
we're
question here.
talking about where
somebody's asking, did you go to the doctor to get that checked?
Oh yeah, of course I did.
Yeah.
Now that's the story. It's in the book actually. if you get E.T. Rider, because there's one of me. It's me. I'd spent about $25 to get my records, and in my records, you know, me doctor's records, me health records, you know, it says, and I had to block his name out. It turns around and says, Mr. Kellett is in a UFO group, right? So I'd gone, and it says about my face. It says it is. Well, how does it describe it now? It is puffy and red, but it's not a sunburn, and it's not some. I went on Coast to Coast years ago, and this guy was saying, "Oh, I've got a motorbike. It's windburn."
Oh,
and it wasn't windburn. I know what windburn is. I know what sunburn is. It was none of them. But how strange! My doctor talking about this, because he'd seen me. I suppose he'd seen me in the paper, because when this happened, I had to find answers. I started up a UFO group. I wanted to find answers, right? Yeah.
Right.
That's how I got into this.
Right.
But it says, and it's as clear as, you know, it's scanned. You can see it says Mr. Kellett is in a UFO group. Why would a doctor put that?
Yeah. Yeah. To try to dismiss the
on
whole
your medical
claim.
records. This is on my medical record.
Yeah.
And then he did say to me, he says, whatever you do not tell me about aliens or being taken by them. Yeah.
Unreal.
Huh.
So why did he say anyway? So now we've been out and we're talking, and I dropped my friend off because he was going, you know, working morning. And we're just talking about where we'd been. And he says, you know, that were a bit strange near this. Right. I've got to be careful. It was a rude word, that, but it was a name for it. Was called the Three. Let's call it the Three Nuns. Right. Yeah. So we've been past this pub, according to my friend, the Three Nuns. Right. Yeah. And I looked at him and I said, Three Nuns? And I says, do you mean in Murfield? And he said, well, yeah, of course. I said, I didn't go. I said, where have you been tonight? I says, I've been nowhere near Murfield. I said, we went straight across. I says, went over to Shipley, across over towards York, turned off Harrogate, over to Blubberhouse. No. So my mate is arguing with us where. So I says, I should know where I've ridden my motorbike. I said, I was riding my bike, not you. So he's getting, and I said, and then went down, and I remembered, and I gives it, oh no. We went down this tunnel, and he gives it, what tunnel, Russ? What tunnel? And I said, that tunnel. I says, remember going through that tunnel? He gives it. The only other tunnels at Leeds. He says, or Liverpool. He says, what tunnel? And I'm trying to explain to him. So there's an argument now, 12 o'clock at night, there's an argument going, you know, he thinks I'm taking the mickey out of him. So I just, He walks off. Right. So anyway, so there's two on one motorbike. I'm riding. He's on the back, and I'm saying to him, I should know I should know. So the next day, after tea and what have you, it was 2 days before we went to a meeting. We used to have a group meeting at a pub, where we'd meet up with all his mates. So I goes and I'm talking to him, and he's in his garage with his motorbike because he's off at road at the moment on his motorbike, you see. Anyway, cut long story short, this argument erupts again about where we'd been that night. Right, and he's still not having it. No, we went past the Three Nuns. I'm saying we've been nowhere near the Three Nuns. Get it in your skull. I haven't been anywhere near. I should know. So we're going on, and it's getting heated now. He's got this spanner, and I'm thinking, sort of like I'm getting really annoyed with him. So I'm picking the spanner up and sort of like I'm going to hit you with it if you hit me with your spanner. You know what I mean? It was getting heated. And so basically I said, look, I didn't go that way. And he goes, and don't start again about this tunnel. There is no tunnel. So anyway, calms down and he's having a coffee, and he usually makes me a coffee. He hasn't made me a coffee, right? Yeah. So I'm thinking, oh, all right then. So he drinks his coffee, and then next thing, I said, right, shall we go, for a ride? Where do you want to go? And I think I might have said, shall we go near Three Nuns? Big mistake. So now he goes in. So he goes in, right? So I'm waiting for him. I'm waiting for him for half an hour. I'm thinking, where is he? So I knocked on the door, and his old man came, and he was, he said he's gone to bed. What? He's gone to bed. So I thought, oh, all right then. So I went on my motorbike, and I went over so I thought, right, I'll go over to my mate's house, who does acupuncture and is a physiotherapist and whatnot. And, I told him about this, sort of like occurrence. Anyway, I told him before that I had my scooter. I had another scooter before. I missed part of this out. And I told him about when I was going to his house, this is some time before, I'd seen what I can only describe as like this tall giant, like and an helmet, like a spaceman. Another spaceman, I'm thinking myself. And I'm on my scooter, and I'm thinking, what's that? So I told him and his wife, I said, you will not believe what I've just seen. Look at this. Come and have a look at this. And he said, what's up? And gives it over there. I said, it's like a spaceman. He's as tall as those oak trees. And he just gives it, oh yeah, you see that sort of thing around here a lot. Do you want a coffee? And he goes in. And I'm thinking, what about this? Yeah. Oh, all right then. We see that a lot around here. And then he's telling us about what he'd seen. Because he lived near Locks. These so I'm telling him now about what's happened. And he says to us, he says, I think you've got missing time. He said, I'm putting all this together. He said, and he says, something's taking you. How do you mean something's? He says, I think something's taking you. He says, and then he explained. I said, do you mean like in these films, like Close Encounters sort of thing? And he said, right. Yeah. And I'm thinking, well, they're not like that. They're not, little spindly type creatures. I said, these are tall. So it starts getting even worse now. So we've had this bit of an argument, and we're not talking because he thinks I'm taking the mickey, So I said to him, do you want a lift to this meeting? So he's going to this meeting, and I'm supposed to give him a lift on my bike. So instead, he goes on the bus. So he's on the bus. So I follows the bus. I'm pipping me on and sort of like shouting, you know, some stuff at him and what have you. And he's sort of like not impressed with us. Gets off the bus, goes over the road to this pub. And I goes past him and sticks my foot out to kick him up his bum, sort of thing. Not properly, but you know what I mean? Jesting, just messing about and pipping me on at him. And one of the lads says, what's up with you two? How comes, you know, like, why did he come on the bus? Why didn't you give him a ride? And he goes, I'll tell you why. He said, I ain't going anywhere near his bike. He says, he's talking stupid. He says, he's telling me we've been somewhere we haven't been. And, you know, we went out and he said he went another way, you know, like in different direction. And he's talking about going down this tunnel and what have you. So one of my mates now gives it, oh, what tunnel's that? Where were you? I said, the blubber houses. So now my other friend said, well, there's no tunnel at blubber houses.
No.
So I'm now feeling a little bit like I'm thinking to myself, you know what I mean? They're ganging up on me here.
That's right.
You know what I mean? I'm having this feeling that I'm thinking to myself, what's going on? You know, so now it's not funny, if you know what I mean.
Right.
So we'd been on a run, and they were on the back of the bike, and I got lost. And it wasn't like we was any more than 100 miles away. And it's somewhere I'd been before, and I got lost on that motorbike.
Wow.
I pulled over and I says to him, I was disorientated. I didn't know where I was. And I says, I'm lost. And he gives it, you can never be lost. You're always somewhere. And I says, yeah, but where's that somewhere? You know what I mean? I'm lost.
Yeah.
I'm disorientated. I don't know where I've been. And he says, do you want me to ride? You know, do you want me to ride? And I said, no, it's all right. So goes back home. And I dropped him off. Meanwhile, my other friend, an old man who lived opposite the house from where I lived, he always messing about with cars and what have you. And he was doing this car up and he needed a torque wrench. And he'd gone over, he'd heard me come round on my motorbike and go in my gate. And he came over and he said to his son, he said, I'm going over and get a torque wrench. He says, Russ has got a torque wrench. I'll borrow one from him. He'll let me, you know. He comes round and I'm not there, right? He said, that's funny. Now, we're only one way in where I lived, in this garden, and the way back out, yeah?
Yeah.
10 minutes later, he comes round the corner on my motorbike. He's looking over and he came back over again. And he says, how did you get out? I didn't see you come back out, he says. How did you get out of your garden? Right. And I said, well, how do you mean? I said, I've just come now. He said, no, you can't. I said, I saw you. I physically saw you. And I said, well, Fred, I says, I haven't, mate, honestly. Anyway, so I lent him the torque wrench. So now he's in his car later on with his wife and his son, and a flying saucer is above their car. Right, yeah. And this is near the place where I'd been towards York. You were on the York Road, and I'd turn off to go to and blubber houses and go that way. So, you know, now this is where it takes a drastic turn. So now go down this tunnel again. It's a different type of tunnel now, but it's still a tunnel. And I've got a feeling thinking this isn't a tunnel, this is some craft. This is like some kind of doorway to some kind of craft. And it's like a tube, like what my dad saw, or what my dad didn't see, but his brothers did at work. Like a cylinder, you know, like a what do you call it? Torpedo. Right? So I'm back in this room. I'm now in this chair, a bit different, more comfy, and what have you. And I've got this injection, no helmet on now, right? Yeah. Then I end up in this room, and it's a checkered board, circular room, like a draft board, chessboard, and I'm walking around now. Feel that I've got no clothes on and go through this mist, and there's quite a few other, there's a few of us, men and women, and they go through this mist, right? And there's this wall, and the wall seems to come closer to us, and the mist now is, you know, you're damp and wet and a right strange smell, not a bad smell. And then there's this heat, you know, like being blown with an hairdryer.
Right.
And there's all these like lockers. So we go in, open as lockers. I know my locker, put this, what you could call, which is, you know, lace curtain, very, very light like that. Put it on, and it's white, and it more or less zips up itself, more or less. You know, a bit like Velcro. And there's a knob here at this side, and you turn it round, and it goes all different colours. It goes like yellow, and then it goes to like a green, then a blue, a dark blue, and then black, and it tightens on you, figure hugging. When I used to have some type of figure. Anyway, and the boots are part of the what do you call it, the uniform, part of the suit, you know, like a bit like a romper suit in a way, my mum said once.
Right.
And we've got an helmet, a weapon, and now we like put us helmets on first. You can't touch the weapon because it's a sound weapon, right? Yeah. And anyway, get us weapon ready and what have you, and then we turn around, and we're all in a line, and then the room seems to stretch. These lockers have gone up on this wall, so there's like this wall now is like quite a distance now, and there's this like doorway, and there's these things, you know, sticking up out of the ground, and there's like balls on these like, what's the word I'm looking for now? There's like left hand side and right hand side of you, there's like these rods that are coming up, thick rods, and on each one of them there's like these balls, one at each side, and there's a row of them, a line of them, and we're all in line waiting. And what happens is that these things come up, right? Yeah. And as one comes up, that person disappears. Then the next person behind, it comes up, they disappear, and it comes up. So the line goes like that. And you basically go, and these balls are at the side of you, right? Yeah. And you're just traveling between these two balls, like not orbs, but similar, if you know what I mean. And then you land, and in the visor, it's telling you where you are, and everything, where the enemy is, where your unit is in your visor. And when you land, you're a unit, a military unit, and that's when we're fighting all sorts of different. You know, we're looking at tall blue aliens, like these dragon race. The ones that we've fought the most are like these things 10 foot tall, like dragons. But they have people like different types as well. There's like a white type of dragon. There's one that's like red, and there's a blue one, and they've all got people that fight alongside them. Right. So, like we've been taken by this race, these 10 foot tall humanoid figures. So we're fighting with them. We're their allies. So these dragon type, reptilian types have got the people that, basically fighting for them. If you see what I mean. So there's battles going on. So, now it's a case of it's not just being abducted. It's not remembering something, it's a case of now we're in battle against, this race of aliens,
Oh my
yeah,
God.
so, and it's
Wow.
not good. I mean, there's
Wow.
some real battles.
How
You know,
many times that happened?
and that happened. Pardon?
Sorry, what
Didn't
did
hear
you
what
ask,
said
Lynda?
then, sorry.
Yeah, I wondered how many times that
No,
happened.
I thought you said so. Oh, quite a few.
Wow.
Over the years, quite a few times. But the thing is, I had 100% memory recall. I know the people in my unit. Now, I was told I had not to talk about where they're from, what race they are, what race the allies,
Right.
the aliens that take us are actually their allies. And like I was saying, that these Dragos, these dragons, and these other type of aliens, reptiles, they've got allies as well. And one of them, the more like Slavic looking, Russian looking.
Right.
Then the tall blue aliens, they have Chinese and their technology. I was telling somebody about 2 years ago about this. Their technology is unbelievable, on a
Wow.
par to the actual aliens themselves.
Really?
Some of the things, some of the weapons that they've got. But when I got taken, I got left behind at one time. And what had happened was we got overrun by this group who was supposed to be nothing that resembled humans on this planet. And I seen this. We've got humans, and I said to the left of us, and I told HQ, and basically a firefight started. I got it twice. I got it once by the person. I could have shot the person, but I didn't, because I'm saying there's supposed to be non-humans on this planet, but there's a human. I can see the human, and now I'm having the problem with my headset, because you cannot fire the rifle if you've got no helmets on, because of the sound weapon. And what happens is it bursts your eardrums. Well, I've got bust eardrum, so obviously you know what happened. Yeah, my helmet were half on, half off. I'm trying to explain to unit leader. I'm saying there's a human, and there was something going on, and I couldn't hear anything as communications were down, and I'm saying there's an enemy, and it's human. And like I said, I got shot in the back. That knocked me over, and I fell into one of the unit, my unit, and his rifle went off and shot me in the back. So I got shot twice. I was on the ground, and I was knocked out. And like I say, I got this injury to my ear, which I have actually got an injury to this ear. I've had it ever since. When I woke up, I'd been taken prisoner. So what happened was, they said the only reason I'm alive is because I didn't shoot the person. I didn't mean. I'm saying there's not supposed to be any humans here, and I'm telling to our unit leader, I'm saying, and this is when everything, no communications, and so I now got brought back and left on this planet. So Eventually, my unit turns up, takes me back to the planet where our where our base is. But when I go back, I've got to be in quarantine because I've come in communication with enemies or their enemy, which, you know, you've got to be a week away from everybody else, and to put this thing on your head, it's like some kind of helmet, and they look inside your mind, right? Yeah, and they can see if they've done anything with you. If they can basically see what's happened to you. It's like how can I put it? Making sure that you haven't been turned, if you see what I mean, so that you're not gonna work for them, you know. So that was not fun.
Russ, we're just running out of time here.
On your own.
Oh, sorry. We're just running out of time here. Is all of this in your book? Is this in your book, like the story, like everything that you experienced? Is this all in your book?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
It is, yeah. One thing to tell you, what happened was, after that, when I came back, one Sunday, my dad came from the shops with the papers. I was reading a Sunday paper and talking to my dad, and I had my whole memory wiped.
Wow.
I was rushed to hospital, and I was put in this unit. They thought I'd got one of 5 different types of diseases because I'd lost memory and everything. An isolation unit I was in, and I lost my memory. So a lot of the stuff I remembered 100%. Now I can't 100%, you know, because a lot of it's gone. But I wrote a lot of it down. Luckily.
Good. Yeah, luckily.
Goodness for that.
So that's.
And at least now it's in paper form, so you don't have to, you know, like it's one of those things that you don't have to worry about remembering, and we get the opportunity to read it. So, you know, thank you so very much for coming on to the show tonight. Alien Invasion Wales, the Berlin. Am I saying that right? Berwyn Mountain UFO cover-up with our guest Russ Kellett. Thank you so much for coming on. It's truly I hope to have you on again sometime. It would be a pleasure to be able to talk to you more. Okay.
Well, thank you very much for having me on your show. And
you're so welcome.
To be quite honest, I am really tired. I've had no sleep, so I'm a bit groggy, and so I'm sorry that it hasn't flowed.
Oh, it was fun.
You've enjoyed it. It's been amazing.
So much. It was such a pleasure
for having us on your show. I've really enjoyed it.
Take care, Russ.
Oh, same here. Thank you very much again, both of you.
Bye.
Take care. Good night. God bless.
You too.